Now we will complete Enoch's journey to the ends of the earth where he saw dinosaurs? Let's see. Welcome to Answers in First Enoch, episode number 16. What direction is this in? Well, we'll show you. Many are missing the perspective of Enoch, which is indisputable, really, if we're reading what he's saying. And most certainly in Earth, basically cosmology, with a flat, round surface. It's not really a flat Earth. I know they call it that, but that's not actually what it is. Just the surface is. An underworld also exists there, which we covered, and a firmament dome from above and fastened to the edge of the earth. What is the edge of the earth? How can it even have one? Then what did Enoch see at this edge of the earth? This is fascinating. One thing that is plain and simple, anyone reading Enoch that suggests he thought the shape of the earth was a ball, or an oblate spheroid, or a pear. Science has given us all three shapes of the earth over the past 60 years. Talk about unscientific. They showed us a picture of a blue marble, a perfect sphere, and still do, a ball, essentially, this entire time. But in witchcraft, wave their hands and tell us, no, it's actually an oblate spheroid, more like the shape of an eye. Yet they never produced a picture of that shape, did they? No. I mean, that is pretty telling right there. And now, they've changed it again. In more modern times, they're telling us the earth is shaped like a pear. Wow. Well, where's that picture? There isn't one. Nor will there be. Nor are they showing us pictures. They're showing us computer-generated images. So really they can make the earth look however they want, because it's not an actual photograph. They've lost all credibility on this topic, really. And the reason is because they are not scientists. They're not scientific to suggest such. I mean, if science doesn't actually know the shape of the earth, and they have proven they don't, then who does? Well, Yahuwah certainly does. However, Enoch is an observer, a scientific observer of the entire infrastructure of the earth. But let's throw out his eyewitness account. Because, well, religious zealots, we call scientists today, claim a different shape, but can't even produce such evidence in any part. Now, that's pretty sad. That is a strong delusion, my friends, and it's time to squash it. Let's go to Enoch's directions and finish this out. This is awesome. Open your books to First Enoch, to chapter 33, verse 1, starting in. Where is Enoch here? Well, we'll go to a map next, so don't worry. We left off with him in the land of the Garden of Eden in the Philippines, and this is now where he goes from there. So that's the perspective that we need to use to map this out, and we will. And from thence I went to the ends of the earth, and saw there great beasts, and each differed from the other. Interesting, so this denotes a unique, large, as great means largest, the Hebrew word, when you look it up. Could these be dinosaurs Enoch describes before the flood? Well, we know they lived then, or something like that. We don't know that they always put those bones together accurately, nor find a one bone of a foot or a tooth, and then from that they'll give you the complete rendering of exactly what it looked like. They don't know. They have a tooth. This is called science. today. And it is about as unscientific and really stupid as you can get. And this is the ends of the earth, remember that. But he was already at the end of the earth in the Philippines. So what gives here? Well, how can that be? We'll show you. It will become evident on the map. And I saw birds also differing in appearance and beauty and voice. Fascinating. Differing in appearance from what? From each other, indeed. From other birds? Interesting. Could they be what they've drawn out to us and shown us in animations as well as flying dinosaurs of sort? It doesn't have to, but perhaps it would fit, though, either way. Also, the one differing from the other. Verse 2. And to the east of those beasts I saw the ends of the earth, whereon the heaven rests, and the portals of the heaven open. Whoa. The what? Enoch is talking about the firmament, or as Job calls it, the molten looking glass. And the Bible is consistent. In fact, Peter makes it very clear. Some try to say the firmament melted because it was an ice canopy. That's not found anywhere in Scripture whatsoever, and is no longer there, except one major problem. Peter said it is still in store in his age. So if it's still in store in his age, thousands of years after the flood, it's still in store now. That doesn't change. So that looking glass is attached to the earth, where? At the edge, in the perspective of the earth, of Enoch, and the entire Bible. We followed Enoch from the North Pole, or insert Israel if you wish, for those who wish to. We've had some pushback on that being the North Pole. It really doesn't matter. It is firmly the North Pole, and but in the directions, this changes nothing. Regardless, because next you go to Mount Sinai, and from there nothing changes, whether he started in Israel or the North Pole. We firmly believe it is the North Pole. So he goes to the Arabian Desert here, and then we head east to the Great Indian Desert. Just for those who are challenged with geography, that's not in Africa, okay? That is not Israel. It's just not. And we passed Mesopotamia. So neither of those bad theories, they really aren't theories, they're lousy guesses, could possibly work for the Garden of Eden. It's not there. Then we go further east to the land of cinnamon, east to the Spice Islands, and there we exit the Erythraean Sea or Indian Ocean and head northeast to, well, what's there? That's the Philippines. It encompasses that entire area. There is nothing else there. There's nothing to discuss. The land of the Garden of Eden, Enoch says, as well as Moses and Noah. But who are they? I mean, what did they know? They only lived there, at least Noah and Enoch only just he just entered the Garden of Eden to observe it. So, how would he know? Of course, you have, right? No, none of those naysayers have they? So it's the same in Jubilees. It's the same in Genesis, and we showed you those passages. We've done a full mapping of Jubilees, and it leads to the Philippines as the land of the Garden of Eden, indisputably. There's nothing to discuss there as well. We showed you maps in part 11 from the 1st century. We've had some come in and watch only that video, and then they're completely ignorant as to all of Enoch's very clear directions, where he clearly goes to the Philippines and nowhere else. It just can't be anywhere else. And that goes all the way through the Age of Exploration, when the propaganda started ramping up, especially from the British, who paid Samuel Purchas in 1625 or so to write a complete propaganda, just ignoring the Philippines even existed. And in scholarship, in Bible dictionaries, and in academia, the British still ignore the Philippines in existence almost wholly. Very rarely do they even bring it up, but they certainly will not discuss it in terms of Ophir, Sheba, Tarshish, the land of the Garden of Eden, and the land of creation. So basically, you take the only place that could qualify as Ophir out of the picture, and then you try to find Ophir. That is a paradigm of stupid. Those are not scholars, just like their British Museum, who put the skull of an orangutan on top of a man's skeleton, which were never connected. It was a complete fraud, called Piltdown Man. Again, that doesn't make the history books, of course, though it should, because these are desperate people trying to make evolution work, and it never does. It failed before it was even written down. And Darwin knew this and says so. He tells you the fossil record does not support his theory. If it didn't support it in his day, it's not a theory. It's not. See, this is the problem with modern scientism. They have forced it regardless, and then they go out and they manufacture Lucy, bones taken from a mile apart from each other, different caves, not even of the same, body, and put them together and claim that is the same. No, it isn't. And then they don't have foot bones and say, but if it did have foot bones, it would have had human feet. That's called stupid. There is nothing scientific about such a dumb conclusion when not a single foot bone was even found. It's just stupidity. So I'm sorry if your scholar, pastor, or denomination has failed to read ancient history and understand it, but they represent mostly the new strange doctrine. And it's time we all test that and learn for ourselves, because we will be deceived if we don't. That is the perspective of the writers of the Bible. That's what we cover. We don't care about what some modern scholar says. It doesn't matter. If it doesn't match the Bible and it can't be tested and proven out with Scripture and even modern science, true science, not modern science, which is far from true science in this realm. Yes, there are people that work in labs at companies that do apply real science. That's true. There's applied sciences that make sense, but this is not. This is a paradigm of a religion that has hated Yahuwah from the beginning. It originates with the Nephilim, and it was reinstituted in Babylon, and they had their own science of 9 planets that revolve around the sun. That is their paradigm. Now, you will have to pin them down as to why they seem challenged to read. We can't explain them. But here's where we are in the beginning as Enoch now. At the end of the earth already, meaning the far east, where the sun rises, the Philippines, which we will cover in great detail coming, by the way. Enoch is talking about a very specific area, and he defines it very well in an entire chapter, but we're going to get there soon. Now Enoch heads to the end of the earth, which is the edge of the earth in his perspective. This would be south of the Philippines to Antarctica. That's his end destination there in this portion of the directions. In Enoch's perspective and the perspective of the Bible as a whole, that's just fact. Even ancient maps, you'll notice we've been showing ancient maps really since our beginning videos, and you notice they have that flat earth perspective. If you paid attention in science class, even in 7th, 8th, 9th grade, you were told by your science teacher that the world did believe that the earth was flat. Even in history class, they used to teach that, though their version very inaccurately, because no sailor ever thought that they would fall off the edge of the earth. That's stupid. But no Bible writer ever propagates a ball earth. It just doesn't happen. And let's be honest here, neither does modern scientism. They changed the shape to an oblate spheroid since it was a ball. So it's not a ball anymore. They changed it. The shape of the whole earth. Imagine that. And now it is a pear, not a ball. So there. They had to, because they well know the earth cannot tilt and wobble as a perfect ball. So that never works for that portion of their theory. See, they keep having to change their theories in fraud. That's what they're doing in order to try to make them still work somehow. That's just outright fraud. That's all that can be. Such motion would cause the world to continue to rotate in such direction, which we've already pointed out. And what is that stops it from tilting and then causes it to go in the opposite direction in momentum and then stops it again? And then it goes back and it stops again. And it does. The earth tilts, I guess, twice a year or whatever it is. Don't care. We really don't care about stuff like that because we know it's fraud. So it doesn't matter whether we get their fraud position completely right on every term. We really don't care. But the reality is it's impossible in every logical sense. Now, likely, this would be the direction of Australia. So he would have crossed Australia or near it. And we'll go ahead and just test that region just to see, even New Zealand for great beasts or dinosaurs as well. Are they found there? We will find them. He then goes beyond Australia, because that's not the edge of the earth, the ends of the earth, further to the south, to Antarctica. All the way to the edge of the earth, the ends of the earth. How do we know this is the case? Well, we're going to follow the directions all the way through, and you will see Enoch proves this out, and it's very obvious, you'll see. From there he turns because, he's at the edge of the earth, so he has to, to the east, and there he sees 3 portals. Very interesting. The firmament rests on the earth there, and that is where the stars which were placed within the firmament, according to Genesis 1, begin their courses. So, no, they are not and cannot possibly be light years and millions of light years away. It never works in any kind of science. That's called fiction, not science. And the term science fiction, by the way, one of the dumbest anyone could ever use, as there can be no such thing. The second word in observation and experiment cannot be fiction. It doesn't work together. They are opposites. Wow. I'm Only a sorcerer would come up with such a term, and that's what we have in Hollywood Kabbalists who run it, as well as the modern paradigm of scientism. Truly Kabbalists, Babylonian mystery religion, even though they call themselves atheists. But let's be clear, they do believe in God because they think they are God. That's the way that works. If you think you don't have a God, then you are God. You're wrong, and you never will be, but that's your belief system. Let's be clear. Still a religion, and they don't get to go around attacking Yahuwah every day under protection as a result because they think they are gods. That's stupidity. We should call them out on it, and we should have a long time ago. People like Kent Hovind did, and of course he ended up imprisoned as a result. But regardless, we should all be calling them out. If we would have, then probably they wouldn't have been able to attack him. So I think we as a community of believers bear some responsibility there. So it's not based on logic and experiment and observation. No, that's not what modern science is. Not in this realm. Again, I'm not talking about applied sciences in a lab and in your profession. Those certainly are accurate. Someone did develop, Gore-Tex, which is a great fabric and wonderful, invention and valid science, absolutely. But that has no bearing on the age of the earth, the shape of the earth, and all of these other things which they are injecting a basically ancient religious belief over that of the true ancient belief of the Creator. But are great beasts found in Australia, New Zealand, and Antarctica in this direction? Ah, indeed they are. Check this out. Remember, this is before the flood. Every animal we see today has an ancestor that existed prior to the flood in species, and they were not what we call dinosaurs. I mean, dogs didn't come from dinosaurs, right? Noah brought them on the ark, and we can scientifically observe them today. Yes, he only needed one pair of wolves, for instance, and from which would descend all wolves and dogs for that matter. You'd only need one couple for that entire species. Doesn't mean he only took one. Doesn't matter. But that's all he needed. And when it comes down to it, those that say, oh, how did he fit all those millions of species on the ark? He didn't have to, because the term species is fine. It's fine that science uses such a term. The Bible does not. It uses kinds. And the Bible defines what kinds are, not modern science. Now, Noah did not have to take 1,000 pairs or more of dogs, just one couple, that's all, to continue that species. But why do we see no dinosaurs today? I mean, they're not there, but we're finding bones. Well, some may be manufactured in China. That is possible. We would not rule that out for a system of fraud that is proven. It is a very desperate religion that will commit fraud in order to perpetrate their propaganda. We've seen that numerous times. Again, Lucy, Piltdown Man, and many other very ironclad examples. So basically, dinosaurs appear to have all been wiped out by the flood. There are records of perhaps some that are seen in history called dragons. There was no such thing as a dinosaur until the 1800s. Now, we're going to get to the part where Enoch tells us the Nephilim giants also mated with and manipulated the DNA of animals. And very well, these are some of those manipulations. See, before the flood, you can kind of tell them, because all animals and humans were vegetarians, not eating meat. It was not till after the flood that Yahuwah gave license to eat meat. This is a telltale sign for several so-called dinosaur species, like the T-Rex, who was, if it existed, wiped out during the flood. If they were meat eaters, they would have no right to survive the flood. They were not created by Yahuwah, but a manipulation of his creation. Now, looking at Australia here, Enoch saw great beasts indeed. They have found several fossils of dinosaurs, including this one. That is assuming this is true, but it certainly appears to be. Governments claim they are, and of course the scientific community is behind this. You can see this particular, this very large species as that is just one bone there. That's the humerus bone. They claim this animal would have been 80 to 100 feet tall, if they're accurate. At least twice as tall as the T-Rex, in fact, if you can imagine the massive size of this species. This was reported by major news outlets, not that they always report the truth, because they do not. We've caught them several times. But this is NPR, and this is touted as legitimate by the museums and scientific community there. Interesting indeed. Enoch would have likely seen something like this. He called great beasts, a connotation describing something uniquely large. It certainly appears in the text. This makes sense. The Natural History Museum of Australia claims to have found fossils, remains basically, of several dinosaur species. Let's all understand, though, that the term dinosaur is actually relatively new, manufactured by scientists in the 1800s. They create a whole paradigm out of it, but aren't they just animals? I mean, are they really a different species classification that deserves its own name, not being called animals? Well, not really, but they do those kinds of things to compartmentalize and then redefine what we see and observe, especially. Valid history does define odd creatures from time to time, called dragons, that even survived the flood, not in mass, but, one here or one there, even Alexander the Great. There are such instances recorded in valid history. You would have to look at each case, though, to try to figure out what they truly were describing in each instance. But setting up a classification and really a complete religious fairy tale, which is what they've done, of these creatures existing millions of years, the Earth isn't that old, so it's never going to work. It has no scientific support whatsoever, and they have no way to date these bones. They have no ability whatsoever prior to the flood, which they ignore and then try to play science. Well, you can't ignore the flood, because anything underwater for about a year almost, the time period of the flood, cannot be dated by their equipment. They also don't consider the age of that fossil, and they'll even look at something like Neanderthal man and say, oh, he's not human because he has a thicker, skull. Okay, maybe there's something to that, right? Except for, men lived before the flood, about 900 years on average, when you look at the ages. Of course, they don't believe that, and they never will, probably. But see, that doesn't make it untrue. Understand that. When the Bible says something and a stupid scientist says, nuh-uh, well, that doesn't make it untrue. They're not disproving it. Have you ever thought about why the skull would be so thick? Well, what if it was a 900-year-old skeleton there, scientist? You didn't look at that perspective, did you? That would actually explain why the skull and the whole frame would be thicker. See, there's lots of things like this that when you play in this realm of willing ignorance, which science does, that they can't see and they never will see, and it will even seem very strange to them. But see, their paradigm is strange. You don't ignore the well-recorded worldwide flood, over 300 flood accounts in cultures around the world. Marine fossils found on every mountain range, even Everest, on Earth. At the tops, even, in most cases. No one's dug up on top of Mount Everest, but I'm sure more than likely you'll find marine fossils there too. But near the top, yes, they have. So they don't know how old, and they have no such equipment, let's be clear. It's kind of like the rock sent into one of their labs. Kent Hovind talks about this, and it was really good. It was dated by the lab as being 2 million years old. Wow, that's incredible. Their fraudulent equipment, which does not work in such a way, gave that date, yet it came from a recent volcano that erupted, confirmed as being formed by that eruption. So it wasn't even 2 years old. Now, that's pretty bad. They were only off, 2 million years old in dating by 1,999,999. Or more, perhaps. Or in other words, their margin of error factually can be as much as 99.9999%. Okay, so anyone calling that science is a fraud. They also try to date by strata of the levels within the ground, right? They say the digger you deep, the more, the older it gets, as if that's how the earth works, yet it never really has. They'll say the lower level is the older. Kent Hovind showed us examples of trees. It's fascinating. You should watch his, he had them out on DVDs. I think it's available on YouTube now too. But you should watch his videos. He really does his research in that category. Not the shape of the earth, but in that category. And we learned tons from that guy. But he showed us examples of trees growing right there. It's right there in the fossil record. These are, petrified trees, but they're there. They had been growing through multiple layers of strata, disproving that the strata concept is accurate science because of what we observe, which is science. They guess, which is not science. Now, also many times these levels are found with mixed species that supposedly did not exist in those eras. So it's utter fraud. It's ridiculous. But again, when you ignore that the flood happened, you come up with these kinds of theories because you forget willingly that there are layers of strata laid down by the sediment of the flood. That's why you see that. See, the problem is modern scientism loves to ignore such and commit fraud. They love it. Again, just like Piltdown Man, as we mentioned before. So, they did the same with Lucy as well. And there's no doubt that is fraudulent. Their conclusions are fraudulent. They really found bones, but in different caves, a mile apart from each other, and they put them together, but they're still all bones of an orangutan. The bones are an ape. Not an orangutan in her case. She's an ape. But an ape. That's it. There's not a single human bone that was found on Lucy's body. So take it out of textbooks, you liars. There you go. So problem, they didn't find any foot bones. Done. So it's also like the photos of the young fetus that resemble a fish, right? That's what they tell us man looks like in the womb. Well, this way they can redefine what we are. See, we're not even human yet, right? We're a different species. That's stupidity. We are already conceived by human and human contact, which means we are human, right? But they keep showing us these pictures, and they're in textbooks today, of a child in the womb that looks kind of like a fish, right? Or a tadpole, really. However, that is fraud, and that was proven decades ago as fraud. But they never bothered to take it out of textbooks, and they still teach it. See, modern scientism loves fraud because they're willing to go to any extent. They believe the ends justify the means. So they're not only allowed to lie to you, they're supposed to. That is their doctrine. And that's continued in textbooks. There are tons of lies in the textbooks. And it's called fraud. A fetus, by the way, the Latin word for, baby, is still a, baby, just as the word says. There you go. So along our route, we can confirm great beasts in Enoch's time before the flood along the route of Australia, at least. So let's go to New Zealand. For those thinking it maybe turns more to the east, here's New Zealand, who also found fossils of several dinosaurs there. But here we have a find in recent years of one of the largest, if not the largest, dinosaur on record in all of history thus far. So, yep, New Zealand certainly had great beasts. And understand, those islands were mountains before the flood, so they not only would have roamed on the surface there, what we call the island today, but they would have roamed the seafloor, which would have been dry land, and all the way over to Australia, and in between and Antarctica, that whole area would have been their grazing grounds of sort. So, yep, New Zealand is also a check fitting Enoch's description. What about Antarctica? There are several articles there as well of dinosaur fossil finds. This is from the Australian government, in fact, who especially has explored the portions of Antarctica nearer to them, which is in the path of where Enoch went. So it would make sense that they would be there. And they have discovered multiple dinosaur species there. Yes, other dinosaurs are found in other places on Earth. We always have to say these kinds of things, though you would think it would be common sense. We are not testing the entire Earth here. We're testing Enoch's geography and his path. And this is clear. We're sticking to that route. This is not a video about dinosaurs. We're not entering a debate there either. Whether dinosaurs existed of every species they find or not is impertinent. It is about the great beasts Enoch saw in this path, and that's it. It's called research, and we're just affirming that Enoch, in fact, would have seen them. And here we go. Here's the track of Enoch confirmed, and Enoch indeed saw unique, very great beasts. So let's complete Enoch's journey around the earth as he defines the shape of the earth very well here. Still in chapter 33, verse 3. And I saw how the stars of heaven come forth. Cool. And I counted the portals. Portals, you say? Oh, is that Enoch just crazy? Not even remotely. He will describe these further all the way around the edge of the earth. They're on the edge of the earth. So, no, you haven't seen them, and you probably won't. In fact, you can't even go to Antarctica. Go ahead and try. Try to book a trip down there. Go ahead, try a vacation in Antarctica and see if you can even go. You will find you cannot. They will not allow you to. Out of which they proceed and wrote down all their outlets of each individual star by itself according to their number and their names, their courses, and their positions. Wow! And indeed, Enoch does. We will get to his astronomical book in this series. We're not going to cover every star or anything like that, but we're going to cover the basics and do some charting, especially of the course of the sun there, which is fascinating and vets very accurately. And their times and their months, as Uriel, the holy angel, who was with me, showed me. Now get this, he showed all things to me and wrote them down for me. Did you read that? See, those saying they can't explain why certain parts of the book of Enoch appear to have been authored by different authors are illiterate. They can't even read. The text tells you there are different authors, but Enoch is still the author of the book. I mean, we use quotes of other authors and historical statements and even the Bible in our book, but it doesn't mean we didn't author our book because we quoted the Bible. That would be stupid. And that's what modern scholars do. It is the dumbest paradigm when it comes to those kinds of things. This portion was not written by Enoch's hand, no, but by the archangel Uriel's. There you go. He tells you. These are not Bible scholars, nor scholars of anything, really, when they overlook such obvious Disproofs of their stupid theories, yet they continue to propagate them and put them out there. Again, R.H. Charles tells you that in the introduction of his book, and he's wrong. So, it's nonsense. Also, their names he wrote for me. Okay, so Enoch knows the name of every star. Imagine that. Every. How many stars are in the sky? Enoch knows the individual name of every one. And by the way, not a single one is named for a Nephilim or Watcher fallen angel. That's called astrology, which Enoch rebukes as their doctrine and their laws and their companies. Enoch is here by the firmament, and this makes perfect sense to what he says is the cosmology or infrastructure, the layout of the earth. And this is where the stars begin their courses, which is fascinating. Again, we're going to go into that at a later video. Now I'm going to read while showing you the map on screen, as it is easier to visualize. Enoch is going to define the Earth's surface as a flat, round disk in these directions. Indisputably, there's no other way to view this because it will never work on a ball. It can't. Go ahead and try it. If you have to, cut and paste. Cut out the shape and give it a try. It doesn't work. Put these on a ball. They fail. Now, watch this. Chapter 34, verse 1. And from thence I went towards the north. Wow, see the arrow? To the ends of the earth. So how do you do that? Well, we'll show you more. As you see, he goes in each direction, and you follow the arrows. He's going to the edge, and to the edge, and to the edge, and to the edge. He's showing you that the earth has an edge because it is a circle, but a circle is two-dimensional. Isaiah tells us it's a circle. He clearly doesn't use the word for ball, which he knows and uses previously. So we know he meant a two-dimensional, flat, round disk as far as the surface is concerned. And that's the same here. And there I saw a great and glorious device at the ends of the earth, the whole earth. And here I saw 3 portals of heaven open in the heaven. 3 portals, okay, but what's going through these? He'll tell you. Through each of them proceed north winds. So portals of wind. Is that really inconceivable? I mean, come on. Is that really that strange that there would be portals of wind, basically, that would pull the winds and cause them to, they don't understand the true circulation of the earth. They don't know, totally even what causes waves. Yes, we know wind drives the height of waves, but the cause of waves and tides. They tell us, the moon causes tides. Yet we have large bodies of water in lakes, very large lakes in some cases, which never experience tides, yet the moon would have to cause the tide there in order for that theory to work. It's a stupid theory, it's unscientific, and it has never been accurate. When they blow, there is cold, hail, frost, snow, dew, and rain. Oh, wait a minute, rain? I thought it didn't rain before, right? Okay, we know that Genesis 2:5 says there was no rain before the flood, but the whole earth was watered by the rivers from Eden and a mist that came up from out of the earth. Does Moses disagree with Enoch on this? No, not at all. This is the edge of the earth. Remember that. That's where we are. So we're in Antarctica, which is a ice ring of sort that surrounds the earth. And, it required, probably even before the flood, most likely this makes sense, it required ice to maintain the edge, even before. So there, it probably always has rained and snowed. But the face of the earth, otherwise, no, didn't need it. Not according to Genesis 2:5. Otherwise, we'd be saying, he put those there, he created them, but then, only for a few years and then they were gone. That doesn't make sense. Not for something mentioned at creation. Creation doesn't pass away. Still hasn't passed away, including the Sabbath, the 7th day, which also, by the way, defines the clock there as 24-hour days. Not to mention in each day it says it is Yom, which is a 24-hour day. It says it has a daytime, an evening, and a morning the first day, which is a total of 24 hours. You can't say that there is a morning, a daytime, an evening, and morning. The dark hours of the morning is what it's talking about, the Hebrew word boker there. We cover that in Rest, the case for Sabbath, very well. You can't put those together and make those equal thousands of years, because thousands of years aren't in pods of daytime, evening, and the dark hours of the morning. That's stupid. That's not scholarship. These are not scholars. They have no clue, especially when they delve into the realm of geography and science. They are completely clueless. And then what they do is they screw it up for everyone, so people are confused, and then many will even migrate over to scientism as a result, because they're leading the lambs to slaughter. So, however, we are in Antarctica here on the ice edge, which likely still needed ice prior to the flood, as it is an edge. Their precipitation would likely be needed, which makes sense, and that's why the portals are there that bring snow and ice and frost and, rain even. And you will find it all around the edge as we travel. We'll see, and this will make sense. And out of one portal they blow for good. But when they blow through the other two portals, it is with violence and affliction on the earth. And they blow with violence. In terms of direction, this is not the North Pole. It goes to the edge of the earth on the other side of the earth. It is in a northerly direction, but in essence, it's ultimately, he heads north and then south, because he passes the North Pole to get to the edge. And that just has to be the cosmology of the earth based on Enoch. That's what he saw, and he saw the entire edge and most of the earth. Chapter 35, and from thence I went towards the west, again, from where he was standing, to the ends of the earth. So he's still on the edge of the earth here. This is how it works. West from where Enoch was standing, again, only works on a flat surface perspective, or founded earth perspective. We like that term better, as the earth is not actually flat. The surface is, but not the whole structure of the earth. That's not an accurate statement. And saw there three portals of the heaven. You're going to see three portals in each direction, open, such as I had seen in the feast. We are going to talk about that, but not in this video, but we are going to get there. The same number of portals and the same number of outlets. Now, this is incredible. What did Enoch just do here? Well, these three portals, as you will see, in each direction for a total of 12. A very significant number to Yahuwah. But he compares this to the number of feasts, and we are going to get there, but we will just put this out there for you to start thinking about in preparation for that video. He said the number's 3. Now, we know that biblically there's 7 feasts in the Bible as of the time of Israel, but feasts such as Passover are new at that point. So not all 7 existed at creation and all the way back before the flood in Enoch's time. However, he's defining that 3 did, and we're going to test that in a future video and try to find which 3 have survived since. And you're welcome to comment on that now. Go ahead. Chapter 36, and from thence I went to the south, to the ends of the earth. Again, folks, there's only one way these directions can work. Only one. It cannot work on a ball. It would be so discombobulated, and there would never be an end point. Because if you head south or northeast or west on a globe, you never end. There is no end. So it just doesn't work, period. And saw there 3 open portals of the heavens. So there's another 3, and thence there come, and here we go again, dew, rain, and wind. So same as the others, again, on the edge of the earth. Again, from where Enoch was standing, this is the southerly direction. Otherwise, these directions sound like nonsense on a ball earth, and you couldn't even map them. Can't even be done. That's because Enoch never observed such, but he observed. He's not just saying, he's not theorizing here. Enoch scientifically observed a flat, round surface for the earth. That's just fact. Verse 2, and from thence I went to the east. So now we get all four directions to the ends of the heaven. So why it's at the ends of the heaven? Because that is where the firmament, the heavens, are fastened to the earth. Again, from where Enoch was standing, that's east. And otherwise, he'd just be going around in circles, and that wouldn't work. And this will return to the point of origin before he began traveling from edge to edge to edge to edge, basically, and right back to where he started in these different directions. That is what he is demonstrating for us, and actually he's basically showing us that the earth cosmology is not a ball here. And saw here the three eastern portals of heaven that he mentioned before, open and small portals above them. Through each of these small portals passed the stars of heaven and run their course. Now, he said this again in the beginning when we started these directions at this point. But now he's giving more detail. So run their course to the west on the path which is shown to them. Could ships fall off this edge, by the way? I mean, talk about one of the most stupid propaganda paradigms. Ships sailed to the east and to the west, and the perspective of the shape of the earth was the flat, round disk. You can't fall off the edge, and they didn't believe that. Not anyone who had sailed, because they knew better. I mean, what kind of idiots are writing textbooks today that say such dumb things that are easily vetted that even, the history and science teachers can't even bother to research in the slightest? They need to. Back to verse 4. And as often as I saw, I blessed always Yahuwah of glory. And I continued to bless Yahuwah of glory, who has wrought great and glorious wonders. Enoch celebrating the creation here, which is what we're supposed to be doing every Saturday on the Sabbath. That is a celebration of creation once a week. You don't forget it. You don't minimize creation when you're keeping the Sabbath. To show the greatness of his work to the angels and to spirits and to men, that they might praise his work and all his creation, that they might see the work of his might and praise the great work of his hands and bless him forever. Amen. Why does modern man find it so difficult to worship Yahuwah without roadblocks? You're looking at it right here. We are so deceived, we don't even understand. This is a closed paradigm in which we would be celebrating his creation again every Sabbath, every Saturday, beginning at sunrise. We prove that out. Watch our Sabbath series or read Rest, the Case for Sabbath. No, you will not debate that here without reviewing our position of over 1,000 scriptures and hundreds of historical references. Oh no, don't even try. Our channel, our rules. Wow. Enoch defined the shape of the surface of the earth, folks, as what can only be interpreted as a flat, round disk, essentially. That is the surface of the earth. Some put corners on it, as some scriptures say, and that's fine too. With or without, that word for corners can be interpreted other ways. It does not have to be square corners, but it's fine that they do. Doesn't bother us a bit. However, this is firm cosmology of the earth from an actual scientific observer, far smarter than any modern scientist. Oh, they try to demean Enoch. Oh, he was crazy. No, you are. When you propagate strange theory, and especially that goes all the way back to Babylon and the Nephilim, yet call it science. That's stupid. So we don't care who they are. We're going to call them out. That's what we do on this channel, and we always will. And those who are offended, you're welcome. We even, once again, as we test, find that Enoch's description of seeing great beasts is very accurate in terms of what we can observe in the fossil record. Dinosaurs appear to have lived there in that path that he described. Anyone telling you that Enoch saw a ball earth simply cannot read nor understand a map nor shapes. They try to do that with the Bible too, trying to claim the Bible says the earth is a sphere. It never does. Again, the main scripture they use is Isaiah, where Isaiah says he sits on the circle of the earth. You just don't know what a circle is. So, okay, good job. But anyway, a circle's two-dimensional. It's not a ball. A ball's not a circle. It's a different word. Isaiah knew the word. He used it before. So they, when they make themselves dunces to that point, complete dunderheads who can't even read simple sentences, how ridiculous are they? Now, this is going to become far more evident as we get to the videos we will release on the course of the sun, which moves. Yes, the sun moves and has a course, according to the Bible, throughout. And so do the moon, and the stars. The earth is stationary, and no science ever says otherwise. Just look at the night sky. It's already settled. Look at the night sky. You see stars moving in very predictable patterns which could not exist if the earth is spinning at 1,000 miles per hour at the equator, then rotating 66,000 miles, a nice occult number, around the sun, then moving 200 plus thousand miles per hour through space as a solar system. It is the most idiotic. These are not scientists. This is not scientific. Only a religious view of scientism tries to propagate a completely false, weak, very stupid narrative, which many are awakening to today. We hope that is you. And we are covering this for good reason. This is one of those topics that we all really need to research. And we'll never go into it in that much detail. We're not a flat earth channel. In fact, we don't even believe in a flat earth. We believe in a flat surface, but the earth is certainly not flat. Enoch made it clear. There's a whole substructure of the inner earth under, and it's got a dome firmament attached to it. That's all one piece. So, but what it is not, it's not a sphere. It's just not. Now, it's not in modern science either, let's be clear. So, if you are not ready for that yet, that's okay. Do your research. There's tons out there on this. However, we will continue this series, and we will not overlook Enoch's very clear geography in doing so. We're going to bring it up from time to time, so just be aware that we will. We have over 400 videos on this channel, one for every day of the year now, many just as profound, with some 50 or so in Tagalog for Filipinos and now 6 in Spanish to start. We also have been setting up subtitles for 20-plus languages for most of our videos. Don't forget to like and subscribe and click the bell for notifications of new uploads, though YouTube might forget. They're forgetful, you know. They just, come on, you cut them some slack. Yeah, I know it's a computer system and it's supposed to just function, and that's a basic, very basic function, but they forget, okay? They just do. They forget. Cut them some slack. Right. Join our email list as YouTube fails to notify often, and we will notify you ourselves at thegodculture.com. Just fill in the pop-up there. Understand that if they ever do try to take our channel down, then we aren't stopping. We're going to keep making videos, and you won't miss a beat because you'll continue to be notified. Make sure you do that. We want to make sure that we have a clear track there. We promise you we will only send you video updates. That's our plan there, and book launches so that you know about the books. You can always ignore any that you don't like. We will send you, if we have a Spanish video come out, you'll get that notification in case you have Spanish friends. If you don't want to watch a video in Spanish, then don't. It's that simple. We actually did have someone complain about that. We know who it was, though. It was the illiterate blogger. Now, we now have alternative platforms for videos on Rumble, Odyssey, and Utreon. And our new podcast is also available for all of our videos as well on most pod servers. So you can find it out there on Google Podcasts. You can find it on Spotify, Amazon, Apple Podcasts, which is the most popular, it seems. All of them, and even Alexa and things like that. It's on there. We actually have all their logos in a list. Their links you can click on our website. So you can just go to our website and see, or all links in the description box as well. Friend us on Facebook at The God Culture, _space original. If you prefer an alternative, we now have Parler, a Facebook alternative, link below. We now have 6 books published internationally, being read in over 100 countries, with our new release now available, the first book of Enoch, the oldest book in history. And again, we have well proven that out. Just read the introduction if you haven't. We also have now launched Ophir, Philippines Coffee Table Book in the U.S., Canada, UK, and many overseas markets on Amazon. And it is available in hardcover or softcover there, which is awesome. Additionally, we launched the Book of Jubilees, the Torah calendar, with color maps and interior overseas as well, as many had requested. We already have that in color in the Philippines, but this is neat. We offer that on Amazon overseas in hardcover, color, or softcover color, as well as the black and white is still there too. And we do the same with this first book of Enoch as well. You can get it in hardcover color, softcover color, or black and white, either one. All books, including Solomon's Treasure and our new launch Enoch, are now free in eBook. Just go to ophirinstitute.com for all the links for your area for each of the books. More coming soon. Thank you for watching. Now always remember, prove all things for yourself. Yah bless to everyone.